Welcome to the first ever JNR Sports Podcast. We got myself, Nishad Ruparel, joined by Jamin Desai and Rushan Shah. We're happy you could join us here today. We're going to be taking you through some NFL playoff scenarios with the NFC Championship game, Giants vs. 49ers, and the AFC Championship game, Patriots vs. Ravens. All right, stay tuned. It's going to be a good one. So, Jamin, the first game that we're going to be going over, the Giants versus the San Francisco 49ers. What do you got?
Well, I think it's going to be a toss-up, but I'm going to take the 49ers. I think that D is playing too well right now. I think they have a lot of confidence stemming from last week's win at home against the New Orleans Saints. I think that secondary is going to pose a lot of challenges for that giant running game and that vaunted giant aerial attack with Victor Cruz and Hakeem Nicks. I think Alex Smith's playing arguably the best of his career. I think he's finally living up to his potential. I'm taking the 49ers. Rishan, what about you?
I have to agree. I think it's 50-50. And I'm also going to go with the 49ers. I feel like Dante Whitner and Deshaun Goldson coming off a great game against Drew Brees. I think they're going to capitalize on that, play well against Eli Manning, stop Hakeem Nicks and Victor Cruz. Home field advantage. They're playing a candlestick, and I feel like they're going to pull out a win. What about you, Nishad?
Well, Jamin, earlier you mentioned Alex Smith is playing the best football of his career. He's really peaking at the right time. I just want to bring up a point. At the beginning of the season this year, Eli Manning at a press conference declared that he was an elite quarterback, that he deserved to be recognized with Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and the likes of Aaron Rodgers. Well, he took a lot of flack for that. He was criticized. People said, you know what, he's more of a liability. He's not somebody that's going to lead you to the Super Bowl. But you know what, I feel like I like him coming out and saying that because I think this year he's proven everybody wrong. 24-2 victory over the Falcons. Pretty much blew out the Green Bay Packers last week. It was close until the end. Giants ran away with it. He is playing like an elite quarterback. He is giving real credibility to what he said earlier in the season, and I like that. I think this Giants squad is coming together much like they did when they won the Super Bowl in 2007. They've established the run game with Ahmad Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs. They're coaching, defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, calling great play calls, confusing defenses, holding strong. I like the New York Giants on this one. I know they're not going to be the home team, but they're from the area. I'm kind of getting sucked into that feel. I like the Giants in this game. I think Alex Smith, 49ers, too inexperienced in the playoffs, come through with this one. I think that's going to be the difference maker.
What do you think about that bet between the two mayors?
Yeah, I heard about that. 49ers Street, and they're going to put. That's if the San Francisco 49ers win, and if the Giants win, they're going to put a Giants drape over a San Francisco cable car.
Yeah.
What about renaming the Golden Gate Bridge the Giant Gate Bridge? To even it up. I feel like 49ers Street, that's forever. I feel like you can't change that once you've changed it. I
don't really think they're gonna keep it forever, Jamin. I think it's more of like an
it's more of a
maybe a week to 10 days.
Yeah, a week to 2 weeks type of thing.
I think it's a great thing. I think you know what. It gets everybody else involved. It gets the entire city involved. It puts people like us behind our home team.
Right.
So, except for you guys who picked the 49ers, but aside from that, I think. Okay, so we got our AFC Championship game. The New England Patriots and the Baltimore Ravens. Rushan.
I'm gonna have to go with the Patriots. Tom Brady just playing unbelievable right now. He's playing lights out. I don't see the Ravens defense being able to stop him. I mean, the Ravens do have one of the best defenses in the league, but they're up there in age, and I just feel like they're not going to be able to keep up with Tom Brady, Wes Welker, Rob Gronkowski. I just don't see anybody on the Ravens defense that can stop Rob Gronkowski, and I feel like there's just going to be another day where Tom Brady pretty much just picks his spots.
I agree with you. I think Tom Brady has a great game. I feel like it's going to be a close game, a good grinder. I think there's going to be a lot of lead changes in the fourth quarter. But I do feel like that defense is very underrated right now. I think they played very well. Granted, it was against Tim Tebow and the Broncos, but a lot of other teams are having a hard time stopping Tebow during the regular season. And, the Patriots defense did have 14 negative plays. It's an NFL offense, and it's hard to get 14 negative plays against any team. I feel like Tom Brady coming off that 6-touchdown game against the Broncos, I feel like he's going to have a great game. I just think the Patriots have too many weapons on offense. And I know Ed Reed and Ray Lewis are great players, and Terrell Suggs are great players, legendary players. But I feel like they're just aging. Ed Reed has that ankle injury. I don't know how effective he's gonna be. So I think the Patriots have a lot of confidence. Just take it. What about you, Nishad?
I'm going to agree with both you guys. I'm going to go with the New England Patriots, but for me, it's not so much because the Patriots are a great team. I think they were able to do the right things in the last week. That's why they advanced. Um, they suffocated the Broncos early on. They went out, they scored points after points after points. They let their offense be their defense because once you mount a lead that high, the defense obviously gains some sort of confidence, and they're able to then shut down the quarterback. Tim Tebow is he's got results. He's a good quarterback. Joe Flacco, kind of the same way. Good quarterback gets results, but neither one of them are elite NFL quarterbacks. They're both sort of average guys. And for me, Flacco's more of a liability. I see the Patriots offense kind of running away with this one. And
What do you
that's
guys
going to be the difference.
think about that Ed Reed comment? He didn't really put his full faith around Joe Flacco. You think that's going to rattle Joe Flacco? Or do you think that's going to motivate him to play a great game and silence his critics?
Well, I think he kind of pulled a Santonio Holmes there. Flacco did say he didn't care much for the comments, but that's him talking to the media. We obviously know that's not how he really feels. We never like to be called out by a teammate, so I don't think that's going to be on his mind come Sunday, and I think it's going to affect his play.
I think Ed Reed did it on purpose. It's a weird take on it, but I feel
kind of
like
that tough love type
yeah,
of thing.
I feel like he wants Flacco to prove it.
Here's-
And
I don't think Flacco's the type of QB that could
Right,
take that
right.
type of criticism, though.
Here's my thing. Eli Manning, early in his career, he was denounced by his fellow players. He was criticized by his fans. People were saying, okay, you know what? Hell with this Eli guy. Who's going to be the next guy that's going to take over the New York Giants franchise, right? Manning, he was a guy you never knew when he turned on the TV. You never knew when he read the papers because he didn't address any of it. He focused on the game plan. He focused on the playbooks, and he went out and eventually started getting results. My thing with Joe Flacco is he doesn't have that quiet confidence. He feels the need to address these issues. He feels the need to say to the media, wait, I don't agree with that. I think more or less that's more of an insecurity than anything else, and I think that's going to be the difference. I don't think Joe Flacco's a guy that can handle the tough love that Ed Reed is giving him, and I think that in itself, the Ravens might beat themselves this week.
I think we're just wondering which Joe Flacco is going to show up. Is it the one that played great against the Steelers early in the year? The great Joe Flacco that made those pinpoint throws? Or is it the inconsistent and ugly Joe Flacco that we kind of saw last week against that Houston defense? Granted, it is a great defense, but I feel like the Texans did a good job of taking away Torrey Smith, and I feel like that is one of the big players on the Ravens. I think the offense, other than Ray Rice, I think his deep ball abilities, kind of open up the passing game for Anquan Bolden and the other receivers, for short throws.
For me, I think the Ravens' offense needs to score more than 20 points, and their defense needs to limit Tom Brady. It doesn't matter. Flacco's not going to be the guy that can go toe-to-toe for 45 points with Tom Brady. It's going to depend more on their defense, and they're going to have to count on Joe Flacco to sort of get the job done rather than excelling at the quarterback position.
All right, well, my X factor for the Ravens-Pats game is going to be Devin McCourty. I feel like the Pats D needs to show up. I know Tom Brady's gonna put up a lot of points on the scoreboard, but the Pats D's gonna have to make a couple of stops, and that's all gonna start with McCourty. He played safety a little bit last game, and I feel like if he's able to get picks or if he's able to shut down one of their wide receivers, I feel like he gets into Joe Flacco's head, and that's game over for the Ravens.
I'm going to go with that Pats offensive line. If they can give Brady time in the pocket, he is lethal. I don't care what defense you match him up with. If you give him time in the pocket, he will pick you apart.
My X factor in this game, I have two of them. One of them is the Ravens' defense because they need to keep the offense in the game, and the other is Joe Flacco because if the defense gives you the opportunity, Ray Rice can't do everything. Flacco's going to have to make some throws. This isn't a great defense. If anything, this is a week that he can shine. Unlike Houston last week, that's a great defense. We know the Patriots' pass defense is a little bit weak. Not a little bit weak, they are weak. Joe Flacco can certainly pick his spots at times on Sunday if he needs to. And I think if he does that, he really gives the Ravens a chance to win. So Flacco and the Ravens defense.
Okay, what about the 49ers-Giants game? Who's your X factor in that, Michelle?
So backpedaling here a little bit, back to the 49ers-Giants game, I'm going to pick Eli Manning. When Eli plays well, Giants win. That's it. That's all you need to know. When he doesn't throw interceptions, the Giants win.
I'm gonna go with the 49ers safeties, Dante Whitner and Deshaun Goldson. I feel like they play well. They stop the passing attack, and without the passing attack, I just don't think the Giants can win. I don't think the running backs can lead them.
Well, let's see if they help out in run defense too. But my X factor is that 49ers D-line. I feel like if Justin Smith and Alvin Smith can bring that heat off the edge, if they can pressure Eli Manning into some bad throws, into some early picks, I feel like the 49ers can take it. Otherwise, I think Eli Manning, if he has time, him and Victor Cruz and Hakeem Nixon, even Jake Ballard this season, I feel like a great offensive team. I feel like they may pull out a victory if the 49ers D-line does not put enough pressure on Eli Manning. So now let's move on to some other NFL news.
So Rob Lowe, not
Right.
exactly an NFL player, but
Very
he
interesting.
did tweet something very relevant to the NFL. He said that, he's got close ties with Jim Irsay, the owner of the Indianapolis Colts, and Rob Lowe seems to think Peyton Manning's going to retire. Archie Manning, Peyton and Eli's father, completely disregarded that. He said, no, Peyton has not spoken to me about it. I'm the kid's father. I think if he was going to retire, he would come talk to me first. So two sides of the spectrum there. What do you guys think?
Well, you have to believe that Rob Lowe is a credible source. When Jim Irsay first joined Twitter, the first person he followed was Rob Lowe. So Jim Irsay is very close with Rob Lowe, and if Jim did say anything, he probably would have told Rob Lowe. So, I mean, it makes you speculate, but that's really all it is. It's just speculation. I don't think it's really true. I think he's just trying to stir the pot a little bit. I'm not going to read too much into it.
Okay, let's move on to Steve Spagnuolo. He's moving on to the Saints. Do you think he can replace Greg Williams?
He can do more than replace Greg Williams. I think this is a good fit. I think if anything, Steve Spagnuolo is the guy that brought the Giants to the championship. He established that defense, and they won the Super Bowl that year.
Right, but
He's a great defensive mind. The Saints lack a defense right now, and I think he's going to bring it with him to New Orleans.
let's not take away from Greg Williams. He did help out. He did lead that Saints defense when they won the Super Bowl themselves. He's a great. I think it's a good fit. I think in the end, both sides.
At the end of the day, Steve Spagnuolo is not a head coach. He doesn't fit well as a head coach. He's a
good
defensive coordinator, and he's a successful coordinator.
He's a Wade Phillips.
Sure, Greg Williams, they won the championship with him. But they weren't a defensive team. When the Giants won the championship, they stopped one of the most prolific offenses ever seen.
Right.
Spagnuolo, great fit. I think he does do... Greg Williams is great, but he does more than replace him.
Okay. Well, who do you think is going to be a good fit in Indianapolis? There are rumors out there that Chip Kelly, Oregon head coach, may be the next head coach, or even Jim Tressel, the ex Ohio State coach. Who do you think is going to be a good fit?
Well, I think it's too early to kind of pinpoint on one one particular person, but I think the type of coach they would need is more of an offensive quarterback typing coach, because I mean it's pretty much accepted that they're gonna pick Andrew Luck, so they're gonna need to have the type of environment where he can develop, where he can become the best QB, because he has the tools to. Someone just needs to harness it.
Here's what we know so far. The Colts went out and they fired their GM. They fired their vice president. They fired their head coach. They are trying to part ways with the past. This is a new Indianapolis Colts organization, and they want to show that they're a new organization. Next to go, in my opinion, I'm a Colts fan. I love them, but I think they're going to be parting ways with Peyton Manning. And I think they want a new face of the franchise. They're going to hire a coach that goes well, that jives well with Andrew Luck as Rushin said. I can't pinpoint who that is. I'm not sure any of those two guys are the right fit at the moment, but they'll find somebody, I'm sure. All right, guys, thanks for your time. This has been a great podcast. If you're still here, still tuning in, thank you for staying. Thank you for sticking it through. All right, you guys have a great day.